And we are here. Welcome to the Field of 68. I'm Terrence Oglesby, and now we are doing our Off the Carousel series. And what better way to join this episode than with new Georgia Southern head coach Charles Henry. Charles, thank you so much for being a part, and congratulations on your new post.
Thanks, Terrence. It's great to be at Georgia Southern. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Now, you come from Alabama. You've been with Nate Oates for the past few seasons. What was it about Georgia Southern that stood out to you in order to take this job? And is also, how does it fit your personality and where you want to go with this?
Yeah, for sure. I'm big on people and alignment, and the process here at Georgia Southern, it went pretty quick. I spoke with Jared Banco, our athletic director, for the first time. I believe it was Thursday. The job had just opened earlier that day, and I spoke with him for the first time late Thursday night. We were obviously competing in the SEC tournament, but even after the first call, I just had a really good feel with Jared, and then we Zoomed. 2 days later, it was Jared wasn't the only one on the Zoom. There was a few others, but left the Zoom on Saturday, feeling good, even a little bit better than the first conversation. And then we were fortunate enough; we had such a good team at Alabama this past year. Obviously, Coach Oates did an unbelievable job. We were fortunate to coach some really talented players, and we were able to win the SEC tournament, and then traveled back after selection on Sunday, and they flew in on Monday, and we sat down again. It was Jared, our athletic director, Chris Davis, the chief operating officer, Leonard Bevel, head of the collective. We sat down for 3 hours, and by the time I left that room, I know it was what I wanted to do, just because of the people that were in that room and how strong the connection was. So I'm big on people and alignment. I'm also big on gut feel, and I had just a really good feeling about it. And then as I did my own research, obviously in those days, I wasn't trying to spend too much on Georgia Southern, but I did make a couple calls, and I looked into the university and its history in the athletic department. And what I found was, one, Georgia Southern people love Georgia Southern, and that was huge for me. The community presence, the support, and then students love going to school here. So it really has a unique campus feel to it, in the Sun Belt, obviously, which is a great league. So, like I said, people, alignment, gut feel, it just kind of all fell in place where I felt really good about the decision.
You're taking over a team 17-16. They've floated around 500 for the past three seasons. What was the first order of business whenever you became the head man for the Eagles?
Well, yeah, it was in a little bit of a tough transition, because obviously I was, locked in with what we were trying to do at Alabama.
Sure.
And the type of seasons we were having doesn't come around all that often. Obviously, in our 4 years there, we had one similar season our second year, where we swept both the SEC regular season and tournament and made the Sweet 16. But all the guys in that locker room and all the coaches on staff, we were locked into what we had going, because it was really a special team and a special group of guys, and we were doing special things. So my attention was on Alabama. And honestly, that first week I got named the job. I mean, we had a couple guys here at Georgia Southern obviously go in the portal or had already started that process. So there wasn't, besides, getting back to the hotel room. It was interesting because we were in Birmingham, but we went up and stayed in a hotel room. So I was a little bit away from my wife and our two kids. I had a 6-week-old daughter at the time, and now she's close to 3 months. But I was away from my wife and kids, and when I get back to the hotel room, I try to make some calls to kind of just reassess where things were at with Georgia Southern, and what we needed to do. But it was really chaotic. Obviously, wanted to do a great job for Coach Oates, who's been unbelievable to me and given me an opportunity. But still, you're working during the day, and you get a text or a tweet that, you're losing a guy, to a portal. So it was a tough spot because I knew it would come where I would be able to get there and obviously sit down with the guys and all that stuff. But the time in limbo made it a little bit of a challenge.
You move into a Sun Belt conference that has a lot of varying style, but by and large, it's a pretty tough, rugged league. I mean, Southern Miss is in there. Marshall, excellent offensively. Louisiana had a good year and has a big guy, or had a big guy last season that was. If there was a mid-major All-American team, he'd be in there. I mean, it's a tough league. What gives you confidence going into that league? About both your potential playing style and what you guys can get done there in Statesboro.
Yeah, for sure. It is a really good league, with really good coaches. And shoot, as we're trying to rebuild our roster a little bit, obviously this last month, pulling numbers, it's really ascended a ton the last 10 years, 5 years. A lot of people don't realize, there's 30 plus Division One leagues, and our league was ranked 14th in the country this past year.
Mm-hmm.
For comparison's sake, the A10 was ranked 13th.
Yeah.
So it's a really good league, and it's gotten better here. Obviously, the last 5 to 10 years, similar to what I said about Georgia Southern. College athletics is in a unique time, but the support around the Sun Belt is high level, which is another thing that really made the job appeal to me. But I'm confident in what we do and how we're going to do it. Like I said, I'm respectful of we got a lot of great coaches, a lot of great teams that return a lot. But with that said, there's a lot of confidence in what we're building here at Georgia Southern. I'd similar to some of the situations I've been a part of in the past. Obviously, at Alabama, learned a ton from Coach Oates. But when we got there, he didn't really have a whole lot of time to listen to people that talked about the challenges. And I'm pretty much the same way. I've fortunate to have experienced, a lot of good things have happened to me. So I'm always going to err on the side of belief and optimism, and we're doing a great job. I feel great about the staff I've been able to put together. Some of our early wins, getting guys back out of the portal, and then obviously adding talented pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I know we got a lot of work to do, but I'm confident in our style wins. We want to be balanced. We want to be really good at both ends, which is what you saw us at Alabama, really good offensively and defensively. And to me, if you're top of your league at both ends, you're going to be at the top of your league. So obviously recruiting is a huge part. It's not just, feel great about our feel great about the coaching staff we put together, but we need good players. And I feel like we've addressed it here this last month. We've added some really good pieces, and I'm just excited to get everybody here June 1 and really get to work.
And the good part is people are realizing the portal works both ways, right? You get UG Brown to come down from Ohio State closer to home. Is he signed yet before you comment?
Yeah, he signed. So,
okay. So, I mean, it works both ways. You can get talented guys, and with the very unique position the NCAA's in right now, that could very well work to your advantage as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, when I got here, we had 4 returners. I don't think they had done a whole lot from when the season ended. So my first workout was a little bit eye-opening. But, as we got them in a little bit better shape after the first week, I felt really good about the 4 returners. And we were quickly able to get Carlos Curry and Cam Bryant, who had explored their options in the portal during the transition. Once they got to know me and be around myself and our staff and see a little bit about what we're doing, they wanted to obviously stay at Georgia Southern. And I think it speaks to Georgia Southern and the student athlete experience. It really is a great place. They did not want to leave, but obviously the basketball situation, they were open to exploring different opportunities. Getting them back in the fold was huge. Both of them fit how we want to play. Obviously, Carlos is a 6'11" talented big man, averaged 7 and 6 this past year. Cam Bryant he has all the tools to be a terrific defender, 6'7", long, athletic, versatile. Has done some good things in his first couple of years here. So getting them back was huge. Obviously, shoring up the recruiting class. I was fortunate again, like taking over a situation, like you said, initially 17 and 16, It's really, obviously you don't want to use buzzwords like rebuild or anything like that, but it was more of just a retool. I have great respect for Coach Berg. I actually think the world of him. So getting those guys back and then shoring up the recruiting class that they had signed early in the period. Obviously, Coach Shoemate, one of our assistants who stayed on during the transition, was extremely helpful with that. And then, like you mentioned, add in some experienced, talented pieces. Eugene coming back home was obviously huge for us. We think he's a guy that's his best basketball is well ahead of him. He's just scratching the surface of what he can be, and he's coming here to be one of our main driving forces and why we win or lose. So obviously, he's played more of a role at Ohio State, but his role is going to be much bigger here. Deuce Dean from Hampton, been a productive player in college for 4 years, been in double figures each of the last 3 years, had a college season where he averaged 5.8 assists. As you know, if you're getting close to 6 assists a game in a college season, you're really sharing the ball. So he does it at a high level, has some size, which allows us to be good at both ends. And then, add in a Division II transfer here this past week, again, who I can comment because he is signed, but Malik Tidwell kind of gives us a scoring punch. So the roster has, again, with a lot of work by our staff and obviously a great place to sell at Georgia Southern, it's come together, and we're excited about where it's going.
And for people who don't know, you've been all around, and I try not to count like the GA-manships and all that stuff, but you were at Iowa State with Hoiberg. You follow him to Chicago. This is actually your second stint as a head coach because you were with the Windy City Bulls for 2 years. What brought you back to the college game? And what makes the college game special and different from where you were at?
Yeah, I'll just be honest, myself, my wife, our family. One, we've loved every situation we've been in. That's just kind of the type of people we are. So I love Fred has been unbelievable to me. If you don't know Coach Hoiberg, one of the ultimate human beings in the sport, and really one of the best early bosses you could work for. He's still a close friend. He's just an unbelievable person. One of my wife's all-time favorite people. So if you know Fred, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But he's just a great dude, and he afforded me a lot of early opportunities, which is what all of us as young coaches want. I was fortunate enough where he viewed me as such and gave me those opportunities to learn, grow, and make some mistakes and argue with him sometimes and all that fun stuff. But he's family to me, and we loved Ames, we loved Iowa State, and obviously he got the Chicago Bulls job and took me with him. I had spent a year in the NBA already with the Indiana Pacers, again, like one of those early jobs, like you were talking about, one of those grunt jobs.
Sure.
And we loved our 4 years in Chicago. So many still have close relationships there. I transitioned after the first 2 years. I was, assistant coach with a big team, and then we were going into a full-on rebuild where obviously, if you've been at the NBA level, everybody knows what that entails. It's a shift as far as your focus. So the opportunity to either continue to be an assistant in the NBA and all that fun lifestyle. Well, shoot, I wanted to learn and grow. So, the opportunity to be a G League head coach to me was a no-brainer. So I left to go coach a G League team because I was tired of making suggestions and I wanted to make some decisions. And I wanted to, like I said, learn, grow, make some mistakes, but get better from it. So the 2 years, obviously, as a G League head coach was awesome. And it's such a growth league. Just a lot of challenges, roster fluidity, having a guy one game, not having him the next game. But it's a great league, and it was a great learning experience for me. And then in my last year, coach obviously got let go. I finished out the season with the G League team. We made the playoffs, which was awesome for us. But I knew that, the situation in Chicago was shifting kind of beneath my feet, obviously with coach, having been done there. So the opportunity to get back in college, with Coach Oates, who I went way, way back with. He was actually my first job. Got done playing small college, and he hired me as a high school assistant and substitute teacher. And all I asked was he helped me land as a GA somewhere. So we had stayed really close in the, 12 years prior. And he was somebody I thought the world of, obviously a deep, deep, deep close friend. And we were able to make that work where I joined him at Alabama, and it was just awesome, man. It was awesome. The 4 years was it was unbelievable, and I learned a ton from Coach, and obviously our relationship it only grew, being able to work for someone that you cared deeply about, and his success meant a lot to me, and doing a great job for Coach Oates meant a lot to me. So being around great people like that, the college thing, what appeals to me is the relationships you build. Those two guys I mentioned, coaches you work with, my buddy George Niang, who I still, talk to, once a week, other guys like that. The NBA is great and I loved it, but I think you really do build some special relationships at the college level.
Yeah. Well, best of luck, Coach. We appreciate you jumping on off the carousel. Georgia Southern's new head man, Charlie Henry. I almost said Charlie Murphy because I watched Chappelle the other day. Made sure I didn't want to do that in the introduction, but we're done now. And the NBA flavor is strong there at Georgia Southern. Just hired Mo Spates, my man. And I want to talk to you in a year, and I want to hear some Mo Spates stories because I'm sure there's going to be some. He's a great guy.
Absolutely, brother.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been Off the Carousel. And stay tuned. Field of 68, bringing a lot of these your way.
Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more true. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water, or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's field 68 FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks.